Hi, I'm Rita Carlisle Hewitt. I'm retired with side hustles in Rosarito Beach, Baja California.
Hey, Gen Max, you just met Rita, as she said, and we're going to tell you all about her story. If you don't know me, I am Brighton, and I am almost retired in Mexico. What this channel is about is helping you move to Mexico, either before or after retirement. So this interview here will help you move to Mexico in general, but also specifically into the Rosarito area, which is in Baja California, just south of San Diego. So we're going to talk to Rita and kind of understand what those side hustles are, understand if she speaks Spanish, kind of what it's like, how she stays busy here, and how she ended up here. So let's dig into the beginning of the story as to like how she ended up here 10 years ago.
Well, I retired. I was working for Marriott as a marketing, and towards the end of the season, my last job was in Southern California in Ramona. From there, I thought, well, I'm retiring. Maybe I'll check out Rosarito Beach because it's right across the border. And that's what I did. I came down here sight unseen almost, with just what fit in my car and my dog. I found a place that was a good starter place. From there, started to learn how to live down here.
So moving to Mexico is always, I don't want to say an ordeal, but there's definitely things that you need to go through to get to Mexico. So let's hear what she had to go through and also how she can help someone like you go through it too.
Okay, once I got here, for the first year where I stayed, I was fine. I was safe. I was in a wonderful place, but I realized I could find cheaper. So I started looking around and exploring, and you had to learn, there's a different water system, there's pilas, there's different ways to pay your bills, and all these things I was just learning cold because no one was here to help me. I didn't know really anybody, but I'm a very friendly person, so I made friends fast. Looked around other places, and I even traveled over to San Felipe and thought I wanted to live maybe there, and didn't find that comfortable at all. It was too dry for my skin, and there was no real art and music, which is what I love. I'm in the arts, and I've always been in the arts. So I found music and theater and people that are interested in the same things I am. So I came back here, and I got a place in another area, up and down Rosarito. I've lived in maybe 5 different places until I found this place 3 years ago, where I really love it and settled in. But it took me a lot of trips. It took trying out a lot of different landlords in a lot of different areas. Sometimes they were too noisy, or sometimes they were not as nice of landlords, but I've never had any bad experiences. In 10 years, I've never had any sort of unsafe feeling, and I want to make that clear. And I'm a single woman, alone. Now that I've been here 10 years, I have experienced it all, and I know this area like the back of my hand, because in my spare time I'll just drive around, and I went up in the hills, and I've gone off grid a little and ruined my tires. I know this place, and I know where the good landlords are, the good neighborhoods are, for each and every different individual, because some people have different needs and different budgets, different sizes of families. Mostly I've been helping with my services. I have a concierge service. My clients are usually people that are thinking of moving here or have already gotten something here and want to get to know the place, the restaurants, the activities, the groups. There's several groups, and I've found a lot of wonderful friends, and a lot of certain places I go that are similar to what you found in Lake Chapala. I have one village of a community of people that I go and hang out with. there. And I wish I could show you that too.
So Rita mentioned this place, this apartment or this casita where she is now that she is renting. So we're going to talk about what the rent is. We're also going to give you a tour to see what it is that you can get for this amount of rent.
At this point in time, I am very lucky with what I've got for $500. This is pretty well not going to happen now for anyone else. I'm just locked in. This is perfect for me because I'm a minimalist and I'm into healthy living and exercising, yoga, and anything I can do to stay healthy. I eat a healthy diet. So of course I gravitate towards those kinds of restaurants and places and people. So this I'm very lucky to have, but in the 10 years I've been here, like my first casita I had with my dog was a perfect studio for me up in the hills, and that was like $300 a month. Well, you wouldn't find that anymore either. So, and then some of the later things I've had have been 6 and 7. Those have all gone up a little too. So if you're gonna move here, I would suggest getting here soon because they're starting to know that this is affordable San Diego. I call it that, and I named it that. And, it's just a flip side of San Diego. It's the same beach. It's the same, and less gentrified and crowded. I mean, I go down to beaches and there's maybe 10 people all spread out. You can get like something in a tower, in one of the condos for 15 to 2,000, that would be like 3 to 4,000 in San Diego or anywhere in California or the United States. And I've done the research. Rosarito is popular because it's close to the border. You can still get to your doctor's appointments across the border. You can still go shopping, which I do because I go to Trader Joe's and Sprouts and places like that. But if you can just eat Mexican food, you can eat pretty cheap here with rice and beans and tacos.
So we're going to talk more about the why live in Rosarito particularly, but let's continue on this place here and get a quick tour.
I'm living up in the hills, upscale Mexican neighborhood. I'm probably the only American here, but I know my neighbors. I love everybody here. I have an electric gate and I park my car inside. I am like Fort Knox here. No one can get in. I don't even lock my doors. When I moved here, and I've got a beautiful garden, I've got 14 trees, rose bushes, and everything that my landlords keep up, but I'm very lucky. When I first moved in, actually, I paid $600, but last year I kind of said I might move, and my landlady actually dropped the rent to $500. That's unheard of, so I feel pretty lucky to be here. It totally suits me for my needs. It's 2 big rooms. I have the living room kitchen area in the when I walk in, which suits me fine. I have gas and propane, my kitchen area, but I don't use it as a living room because I don't really have company. So my plants are my company. And then I have the bedroom, which is just as large. It's my bedroom, bathroom, small bathroom, and my desk area, my office, and the window that I look out over towards the ocean. It's perfect. I have a lot of light, 7 windows, 14 trees, grass around me, rose bushes. I'm just very lucky to have found this.
So quick comment on that view is that it's a little cloudy down by the beach today. It's really interesting. I'm staying down by the beach and I got up this morning, it was cloudy, and I looked at the weather forecast and it was clouds all day. But then this 10-minute drive inland and up the hill, and all of a sudden it's sunny. So definitely if you're looking at Rosarito, there are microclimates here. So of course it doesn't make for as great of a view of the water when there's clouds down by the beach, but it's still nice and sunny and warm up here.
Well, it can change. Like in the winter, it can be colder and windier up here and warmer down there. And as you go further south, you'll see that it's sunnier too. Because once you go around a certain bend of the coastline, I've always noticed that they're like a few degrees warmer and sunnier. It just varies a lot. It's very microclimate. So in the winter, I am colder, up here. It's worth it for the privacy I get.
So that's great to know. This is wonderful information that you can only get from someone who's here versus someone like me who just comes through for a little bit. But let's talk more about why Rosarito. She works with a lot of different folks. So let's hear not only her why, but also different whys to be here instead of Puerto Vallarta or Cancun or La Paz or even Ensenada.
The main reason is being close to the border for your family. For some people still live here and work there. A lot of people do that. A lot of people do remote work now, but they still want to have access to the border, and it is easier than any of, like Ensenada is way far away. I looked at that too, and I didn't find very much of a real community. Most of the people that I work with and that I know are retired. And you get more bang for your buck here. That's all it is. I'm sure it's cheaper further away, like Lake Chapala or any of those places, but they want to be close to their family, or they want to be close to their doctors. So it's a lot of that. But I know a lot of young people that are here for different reasons, mostly because it's affordable. California is just out of hand now, anywhere in the States. The reason I'm here is I could not afford to live. If I had to go to live in the States, or if I still did, I'd be homeless, frankly, because I live on about $1,600 a month, Social Security. That's my income. And I get Medi-Cal and Medicare and food stamps and everything that I can. So that's why I'm here. I do love California, but I can't afford to live in California.
So another thing that I know that you guys love to know is whether or not people speak Spanish or what level of Spanish they speak. So let's dig into that.
I get by on what I call my Spanglish. I know basic daily words and things to get by on almost anything. I know more than I use or have to use most of the time here. And I understand more, and plus I'm older, so I'm still trying to hold on to my vocabulary because I'm a writer, and I'm busy with my English, and I have dabbled in teaching English here to the Mexican people. I help people with English, but as far as Spanish goes, I just haven't applied myself. I've absorbed plenty over the 10 years to get by. Otherwise, they use computers, their phones and things like that. But most of the time, and for most of the places I don't need it.
Yeah, I guess that's another benefit of being so close to the border is this is a town that crosses the border often. So folks are a little more likely to speak English here. I've found that the younger people are more likely to speak English when I'm somewhere. Yesterday, I rented a car in Tijuana, and the woman there didn't speak English, but I was able with my Spanish to get by and rent the car and everything. And I've actually got a video about that. It'll be up in one of the corners if it's available, just because Mexican rental cars can be a little bit of a scam. So, but I didn't have a problem with that. So let's hear now a little bit about maybe the cons of living in Rosarito, living in Mexico. And then we're going to hear about her side hustle a little more, how she might be able to help you, and also a tip that she would give, a number one tip for people moving to this area. But let's start out with the cons.
I have two basic problems here. The treatment of animals, because I'm an animal advocate, and I've rescued up to maybe 100 cats and dogs since I've been here in 10 years. I work with other rescue companies down here, people that do it, and I help trap and I help get them fixed. And I've done a lot of that kind of work, and I keep food in my car and feed dogs on the street that I think I can help, at least for a minute. So that's one issue I have. And even the way the animals that people own are treated. Like here in my neighborhood, there's several dogs that have a collar. They'll be running up and down my street, but they do go home at night. But the people don't get them fixed, so they're out and about for you know what reasons. Then they might feed them a little junky food and keep them to guard their houses at night. but they let them out all day. So they're not really feral dogs. They're just allowed to run around. That's a real problem, and probably even worse in, closer to Tijuana, and it's horrible even when you go further inland. But so many of the expats down here are into helping dogs and cats. And then the other thing is recycling. I try so hard, but they do not recycle. They take all our garbage and all our plastics and they burn it into the air. So this is an issue. The younger people, the ones that are educated, are more aware of the problem, but it's going to take a long, long time before Mexico even catches up with where the United States is, which is an issue. So, and then I also conserve water, and I'm just as aware as I can be. The best I can do is I take my plastic juice bottles across the border with me and throw them in the recycle bins there. That's all I can do. So those are my two main issues here. Otherwise, I've never felt safer. I've felt more unsafe in San Diego than I have here. So that's a big plus. And, I can walk. I know I can walk in the streets at night. I don't go out at night that much, but I can be out and about, and I'm not afraid ever. So people think, when I told my friends I was moving here, they went, "Are you kidding? You're moving to Mexico alone? Aren't you afraid? Do you see all that crime?" I said, if I let fear stop me from anything, I wouldn't have had near the fun I've had in my life. And I've had fun.
Isn't that what it's all about, is having fun? So I'm hoping that as you're hearing this interview, that you're thinking more and more about your own move to Mexico, because it is about having fun in life. But let's hear how Rita might be able to help you if you're interested in moving to this area.
What I do is I have a service called Rita's Concierge Service. And I'm listed on Facebook in Rosarito and the Expats or the Rosarito Living, any of those groups. I can help with finding a place, I can take you on a 3-hour tour of all the neighborhoods, restaurants, anything you need to move here, your cable, your water, how everything's different, any questions you have, safety, how to deal with police if you're stopped, how to traffic, how to maneuver. I cover everything it takes for you to move here, your phone, your video, your Wi-Fi, the important things. If I can't do it, I got a guy. That's my whole thing. I know so many people in so many places. Just remember, it's Rosarito's Concierge Service. I'll have my website together pretty soon for Brighton here, and he will have a connection for it.
So remember, that's Rosarita, because the name of the town is Rosarito, and I know that's something that we often make a mistake on. But let's get that final tip that Rita has for you if you're moving to Mexico or Rosarito specifically.
The first thing you want to do is get your paperwork together. You want to get your driver's license, up to date, your passports, and go to travel place on the internet and either get Sentry or Global. Global is better because it covers everything, and that can take up to a year. So just get it started. That doesn't mean you can't come down here. As long as you have a passport or a ready card, a passport card, you can come down here and you can do your paperwork from this side. But the main thing is to get all of that together to make it easier for you to travel back and forth and to move things down here. And then the best thing would be to contact me to really get into depth with what you need, how many pets you have, how many people, what size of a place you want, and what your budget is. So that's my tip.
Yeah, if you're living near the border, you're going to want to get Sentry. Yesterday, when I crossed the border, I just walked across the border. It's so easy to walk into Mexico. But going north, there was, I want to say it was an hour and 50 or an hour, close to 2 hour wait to go north. maybe even over 2 hours to go north, except for the Sentry lane, which was less than 20 minutes. So the Sentry lane, you get pre-approved to use that lane. If you get global entry, that includes Sentry. Just when you're going through that process, make sure you put your license plate of your car in. Otherwise, you have to pay like an extra $10 or something to do it later. So definitely get Sentry. And if you do not have Sentry, definitely stay out of that lane. I've got a video that I'm working on it about that. It'll be up in one of these corners here because the government will fine you $5,000 on your third mistake crossing in the Sentry lane. And Google will always send you to the Sentry lane. And if you follow those directions, you're looking at a $5,000 fine because they're very serious about it. And there's no way to get out of those lanes. It's a real pain in the butt. So I will have a video about that sometime soon. But I do have other videos for you to watch now. I've got interviews with other foreigners, other expats, other immigrants living in Mexico, and something that YouTube has chosen just for you down here. From Rosarito, hasta luego, wish you were here.